my niece is only 6 years old, and already she's telling jokes. This is what she told. It's cute. She told me she doesn't think doctors like to eat apples because an apple a day keeps doctors away. I would love to see like grandmothers do stand-up comedy.
What are your thoughts on the world of stand-up comedy in the time of the COVID-19 pandemic? How have comedians strived? How have comedians gotten creative due to limited face-to-face engagement with fans?
It's difficult for anyone right now in the entertainment field, and especially comedians, because you thrive on people's reactions. And you don't have that always in the digital word. You have like basically, you have comments and whatever, but still not the same.
Mm-hmm.
But I think comedians who can teach, focus on writing, do workshops, and adjust to the digital environment, they succeeded. And they have to, they have learned more about the capabilities online, and they've been doing virtual open mics. I know I have, to fine-tune their craft, creating podcasts, and then just building their digital and media fan base. And also, there are a lot of people who are open to outdoor comedy shows. I've been watching that a lot, so it's interesting.
Outdoor comedy shows?
Yeah, so it's basically you might have comedy shows in a park, comedy shows at a beach, maybe comedy shows in a restaurant with safe social distancing.
Yeah, that's really cool. I didn't know about that. Yeah. And I do like your perspective. Like it sounds like it would be a little difficult with not as much face-to-face engagement, but there are always creative ways. Correct?
Exactly. And that's the thing about like everyone. I think we all figured out a way. I mean, luckily this didn't happen when the Spanish flu happened, or, like at least we have like our computers and we have internet. Mm-hmm. So there's always ways to get around everything.
Definitely. There's always a different way to get the comedy out.
Exactly.
So how do you think the 2020 elections play in the stand-up comedy world? What are your thoughts on PC culture playing a role in comedy today?
Comedy has always been fun to write and joke about. This is particularly true with like late night shows. You always hear like the best jokes from them. But I think if you have a strong opinion and are passionate about a joke, that'll be appreciated by many. And it also depends who you want to include. Not everyone's going to find what you say funny, and this is why you have to know your audience.
That makes so much sense. So you just pick up on your audience, and then you know what material to dish out.
Yeah, I think like if you tell a joke and you can see how they're reacting to that joke, you might want to go down that path, or you might want to go down a different path.
That's smart. So you're able to read a room.
Well, I mean, I think like everyone, it's a developing thing, but I think certainly if you're like joking, if you have a really strong opinion and not everyone enjoys that opinion, you might want to move on to something else.
No, totally. That makes perfect sense. So my next question is, what was your reaction to the nomination of Kamala Harris, first African American and South Asian American for the vice president candidacy? Feel free to keep it real.
Okay, thanks. This is great for women in general. It's just unbelievable in the past. We only had 2 other female vice presidential candidates from the Democratic or Republican parties. And it's also amazing to have someone of Indian descent as a contender. And I honestly feel like it opens doors to all South Asians, and it means anything is possible with hard work. And I think the future is bright when you look at American women of South Asian descent in politics, like Kamala Harris, Nikki Haley, Mona Das, Julie Matthew, and the list goes on and on. So.
Representation is so important, just to like see that finally,
Exactly, because I know, you think about India, they had Indira Gandhi such a long time ago, and you were waiting for that to happen in other countries. Like, at least just have women representation.
Exactly. It's so important.
It really is.
Speaking of representation, do you have any advice for young South Asian female comedians who want to enter the industry?
Yeah, I think you should do it if you really love it. It's nice to have a plan, but if you don't, that's okay too if you enjoy it. It doesn't have to be all or nothing, and I think you should do what you feel is best. My niece is only 6 years old, and already she's telling jokes. This is what she told. It's cute. She told me she doesn't think doctors like to eat apples because an apple a day keeps doctors away. I also think like it shouldn't just be young people that want to do comedy. I think you should do comedy if you have a story. I would love to see like grandmothers do stand-up comedy. That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
That would be awesome.
Yeah.
They would be hilarious.
They really would.
So what material and which comedians have inspired you to get into the comedy industry?
I always liked SNL, even though that's more skits. I used to religiously watch all the late shows when I was younger. Of the comedians, I know she's passed away, but I always appreciate Joan Rivers' honesty about everything. And I always like Jerry Seinfeld because he could just talk about everything and he doesn't offend anyone for the most part. Except, of course, when he doesn't want to kiss somebody on the cheek, you know, when Seinfeld episodes.
Joan Rivers, she was so funny, and Jerry Seinfeld's hilarious. Those are awesome choices. Last question. What got you into stand-up comedy? I read that after working in animation, you were inspired.
Yeah, definitely. I always like to be creative. I love, drawing, and I was an animator. And honestly, I'm a really shy person. But in animation, they encourage you to learn acting and even improv. But one day, before I even really sunk my teeth into improv, I was like, let me learn stand-up comedy, and now here I am. It's crazy how the world works.
I think it's awesome how the world works. We need more comedians. We need more Sonalis out there.
Thank you.
Anytime. These are all the questions. I am excited to see you in October. Thank you so much for carving time out of your schedule. I really enjoyed our interview.